Hi everyone, it's Kim Vopni, the fitness doula, and in this video I'm going to review the Psoas Release exercise from the restorative exercise program when you have a diastasis or when you have organ prolapse that you need to be mindful of, or when you're working on healing any aspect of your core, and forward flexion type activities are not recommended. So typically what you do to get into this exercise is you would lean back all the way to the point where you feel your thighs come off of the ground, and that's where you would then bolster yourself. But for the purposes of diastasis or organ prolapse, this type of movement repeated over time is not ideal. So we're going to review how to get in and out of the exercise. But before we do that, a good place to start is just a quick check-in of your body when you are just laying flat on the floor. So you're going to slide all the way down and put your head down and roll over onto your side and let your legs go completely flat out in front of you. And then you're just going to check in. So you just want to feel where the pressure is on your points. Are your thighs down on the ground or are they slightly lifted? Where is your waistband? Is it completely tucked under or is it really, really arched? How about your bra strap line? Is that down on the floor? And then just get a feel for your ribs. So right now mine are a little bit thrusted, and that's something that I've been working on for a while and continue to work on. And the Psoas Release is something that I do pretty much on a daily basis. So my ribs are a little bit thrusted, so you can check in there, check in where the weight is on the back of your head. So kind of just hang out in Shavasana for a minute and just notice where your weight is and use that as your starting point. And then after you've done the Psoas Release, come back here and notice what feels different, what has changed in your body. Okay, so now we're going to do the Psoas Release. And you want to have some props nearby. I know, and most people, I know for myself, and I know that most people need a bolster and also something for their head. Sometimes they may need two things for their head. So a half dome, rolled up towel or yoga mat. I use the block, and that's where my head is going to go. So again, typically when you go into this exercise, you're leaning back and finding the place where your thighs start to pop off the ground. We're not going to do that sort of evaluation portion. We're just going to get into the pose in a safe way if you're dealing with diastasis and prolapse and are trying to avoid that pressure against the linea alba and the pressure downwards on the pelvic floor. So the bottom part of the bolster should be placed right, almost right above your bra strap line. So just high enough so that your ribs can actually drop down. So you want to make sure that the bottom portion of your ribs can actually clear and it's not in contact here. And my reference point is usually just almost if I was to draw a line through my nipple all the way around to the side, that would kind of be my marker. So you're going to go down onto your side and you're going to use that marker and place the bolster at that position, and then lay your head down on that, whatever you have, the half dome or the block as I have, and then slowly start to shift and roll over. And if you need to make any adjustments in your head, you want to do an exhalation and a pelvic floor contraction first, then lift your head and reposition whatever it is that you have, and then come down. So you want to let your legs go straight out. Make sure you have that positioned sort of just above your bra strap. You're going to let your arms rest down at your side. I'm just going to lift this one up for a moment. And what you're aiming for is the back of your ribs to be able to go down to the floor. Now, this isn't a doing exercise, so the point is not to come in and muscle down your ribs. You want to just hang out where you are, and over time, as the psoas releases, your ribs will be able to sink down to the floor. So after a few minutes, usually I stay here for about 5 to 10 minutes, after that period of time, usually my ribs, this space here, has decreased or is not there anymore, and my ribs are actually down on the ground. So you would just hang out here. Again, if you need to make any adjustments, some people do need to bolster a little bit higher with their head and with their shoulders. So they actually would have the bolster with another potentially towel or rolled up dome under their top of their shoulders, and then their head would be bolstered up. But anytime you need to make adjustments, when we're being mindful of not putting pressure forward against the linea alba or down on the pelvic floor, you want to do a core breath. So you can check out my other video on the core breath, where you exhale, you draw that pelvic floor up and in, and then you would lift your head and make any adjustments that you need to, and then put it back down. And then you just hang out. So this is an exercise that's done ideally when you have time, when you're by yourself, when you don't have children or distractions or things that will busy your mind or that will take your attention away from what you're trying to accomplish here. So again, it's not a doing exercise. When you try to muscle your rib cage down, typically what happens is your pelvis will tuck and your thighs will lift up off the ground. So it's just an allowing. We're just thinking about, you can visualize the process of your ribs sinking, but you're not trying to put them there. Just allow them to get there on their own. This can be done in pregnancy. So again, the same movements and principles apply if you are pregnant, and also if you're in the early postpartum phase. And then down the road, if you're 2 or 3 or 5 years postpartum and you're working on diastasis, or you do have organ prolapse that you're being mindful of, this is the way that you would want to get into and out of your psoas release. So I hope you enjoy that. I'm going to take some more blissful time here to allow my ribs to sink down. They're already a little bit closer than when I started. And I hope you enjoy your day. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.